I'm S, and I'm taking you on my conversion journey. So the high holidays are coming up, and I'm super excited because this will be the first time I'm doing it with an actual family. I'm going to be observing and learning so much around this time. And when I did this last year, I was alone. I didn't really know what I was doing, and I wasn't this connected to Judaism. I was more just like in the beginning stages of actually taking things seriously. And it just so happened that it was during the high holiday season. So this year is definitely going to be an interesting one because I'm just so much more closer to Hashem than I was from last year. And a lot of things have changed in my life. I moved, I've learned so much within a short period of time and about Judaism and about myself. And I wanted to take some time to reflect on the month of Elul and really understand where I can improve in my life. With coronavirus, with my mom's accident, with converting, with a lot of changes happening in my life, within a year, both my parents retired, unexpectedly due to events. I don't know if I ever shared with you guys, my father contracted COVID-19 early in the beginning. And I think this was like when things started to unfold, and he was almost intubated. He was in the hospital, basically almost dying. And we were just shocked that, oh my God, our lives are going to change. And, I just wasn't prepared for this calamity in my life. So obviously he's gotten better, and it was just short of a miracle. They went from intubating him to thinking about intubating him to him just recovering. And that event, then, a year later, a few months later, my mom's accident, all of this stuff just made me want to reflect. And with high holidays around the corner, the timing couldn't have been more perfect for me to really look back on my life and just, I'm just blessed. And I'm learning about teshuvah, which is like turning back the direction of the holy path of the Torah and doing what Hashem wants us to do. I could have been angry. I could have just completely turned my back around and ignore my true calling. But instead, I used these tragic events in my life to try to become a better person and to not take for granted the people in front of me, which was something that I did very often. I'm more of an introvert, and I never wanted to go to family events. I never wanted to really spend too much time with family and not get them in my business and just not get them involved with anything because I just didn't want to deal with them. And then something like these events happen, and it just shook me in a way that scared me to death. It frightened me because, I don't know, I just thought, even though I know it's not true, I just thought that people would be in my life forever, but it's not accurate. It's not a good way of thinking or a good way to live, because things happen. things happening in an instant. So where do I want to make changes? Well, there's that. I do want to appreciate more. I want to give more. I want to voice more and speak up more about things, about how I feel to my loved ones, and not be so shy. Not that I'm a shy person. I'm more of a listener, and when I'm around people, I could be fun, I could be, chill, but there's a side of me that's suppressed because I'm afraid that because I am becoming a bit more religious, people just kind of look at me much more differently, or because I'm not for such a liberal way of living, I'm just afraid to be judged. I also, for myself, I say I'm genuinely a nice person, but I do want to embrace and be love wherever I go. And that's me working on myself to become a wholer person, because there are days and there are times where I am just in the most terrible mood. And it would be reflected throughout my entire day. And I also let my past affect my present. And I want to become better at letting things go and understanding that things do happen, and there are a lot of things I cannot control. So I said a few things there. So I guess I'm working on forgiveness, forgiving myself, and just learning to be present in the moment. And I want to walk around and just spread love. I know it sounds so corny and cliche, but I do want to do that more. I want people to come into my presence and just know that they can be themselves, and that I love you, like I love them, no matter what. And I wanna just practice that more. So during this time, Hashem is supposed to be more accessible. And this is where I'm just going to open up myself a bit more. And the way I've been doing that is obviously by making these videos and talking to you guys. But also, I listen to my own videos and I hear the things that I say. And it replays in my mind. And I'm like, okay, was I thinking when I said this? But it also makes me feel a bit more confident and a bit more firm in my religious beliefs. And I'm just learning to embrace this part of me a bit more and a bit more publicly. So I have a story to tell you guys. This month, the month of Elul is of course reflecting and learning to forgive yourself and teshuvah. And a few years ago, I was living with a roommate, 2 girls, and we had the best time. It was the first time I was living without my parents, and we're early 20s, living with 3 girls, coming from religious parents, all 3 of us. And we decided to just, we didn't do it in college, so we decided to let's move in together. And we had a phenomenal time. But one of my roommates, she met her boyfriend, she moved in with him, so then there was just me and the other roommate, and she decided to move her boyfriend in, which I wasn't too happy about it, because I was like, I never lived with a man. The only man I ever want to live with is the man I marry. But I didn't really have much control over the situation since he was at the apartment a lot. And at first he was very nice. He was very sweet, but their relationship was very toxic. They would argue. He was punching walls. I eventually found out he was dealing drugs. And I was just like, I was telling my family, I was like, I don't feel safe here anymore. This beautiful environment that we created just started to become toxic. And I was just like, I don't like it here. I started to stay back at my mother's house, and all my siblings told me, just move back home. Like, your room is still this, just move back home. But I didn't want to do that because I loved my liberal independence. So then there was a night that he was screaming at my roommate, and they had a terrible argument, and I couldn't even sleep that night because I really thought he was gonna put hands on her. So I woke up the next morning and I'm like, are you okay? Like, what is wrong with him? One day he's like cooking us food, and the next day he's just a crazy maniac. And I was just like, listen, I don't know how long I could deal with this. Like, it was almost every night they were fighting. So this was my breaking point. There was a box in the living room. It was like a medium Amazon box, a little bit bigger. And it was empty in the living room, and it was just big and in the way. So I took the box and I moved it, like, out of the way somewhere in the kitchen or something. And apparently it was his box. So he sent me a text, and he was like, do you have a problem? If you're moving the box, you can handle it with me. I don't know, but just basically like trying to pick a fight with me. And then I was just like, are you joking? I do not want to fight with this man. I will never fight a man, ever. It's a losing battle. This guy's tall, like, he's big, he's also scary. I'm a small girl. I don't know if you guys can tell. I'm 5'3", like, you know, I weigh 125 pounds. I'm not going to pick a fight with any man, even if he was shorter than me. So I was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I moved the box because it was in the way. But it was just the fact that he was ready to, like, argue and fight with me for something so small. It just didn't make sense to me. A normal adult would have just spoken about it if that was an issue, or just moved the box. I don't know. But so then I texted her and I'm like, listen, this is it. I don't feel comfortable around this man. I'm moving out. I'm moving out immediately. So my best friend, who interviewed me in one of the videos, she has been with me through everything. My sisters, they drove to my apartment. We were like packing everything, and within like a week, I was gone. I did not interact with that man. But the sad part is, our friendship, me and my other roommate, our friendship collapsed. She obviously chose him, and which was, even though I knew like that, like I know of course she would choose him, but like I had so much hate towards this girl because we've cried together, we've cooked together. He has cheated and done crazy things to her. I was by her side, you know, and like for her to just like throw me away like that because he said so was just astounding. I was just so angry. And then I had to move back to my parents. I left this beautiful apartment to move back with my parents. And I was just like, I hate this girl. Like, I can't believe her. And I hated her for a very long time. I didn't care about him. He wasn't like, I didn't build a relationship with her. I built a relationship with her. And I was just like, I was vulnerable with this person and never again. Like, I hated her. I never wanted to live with a roommate again. Like, anyone with her name, I was just like, I'm done. So our third roommate who moved out, she recently got engaged. She's such a sweet person. Like, she's a good person. And I've learned many things from her. Many things. I regret that I didn't take advantage of living with her, because this girl was honestly heaven sent. And you know, we've been hanging out recently. I was so thrilled. She's marrying the love of her life. And she told me how the other roommate has been basically like trying to, like, she left this boy. It's been a few years now. She left that boy and was thinking about me and wanted to have a conversation with me. And I was just like, it's been so long. Like, I got to a place where I just don't think about it anymore. And I've moved on. Like, I have my own place now. But, you know, we all will be going at this wedding, and apparently we're at the same table. So I explained to her, at first I was resistant, you know, but then I started to learn about teshuvah. And, you know, I wanted to end and start my new year like on a positive leaf and forgive and be better. And right now, the only person in my life who I haven't reconciled with is her. And I think this is a sign from Hashem to, you know, practice teshuvah and just be love and understand that at the time, maybe she didn't know she was in a toxic relationship, and maybe she didn't know who she was and or understand how much control another man had over her. So I eventually, she convinced me. I agreed. I was like, you know what? It's been a few years. It's been like 3 years. And I'm a totally different person, and I'm sure she is too. And I'm willing to hear her out, and I'm sure she's willing to hear me out. And, you know, we haven't spoke since that incident. And it was like, I moved out and that was that. There was no apologies. We didn't really have a conversation. It was just like, the friendship was tainted. It collapsed. We had a bad falling out. And I told the third roommate, I was like, you know what, let's do it. Willing to hear. So they will be coming over on Monday the 30th to have brunch. And I guess I'll let you guys know how that goes. I'm willing to listen. Me a few years ago would have been like, no, I hate her. Like, you know, now I'm like, you know what? I'm going into this learning to forgive. And this is what I love about Judaism, is how I'm learning to just let things go. Let things go, be present, be love, and be in the moment. And that's the type of standard I'm setting for myself now. What standard are you setting for yourself? So tell me, what do you guys think? Is this a better approach than to just, I have had this conversation with many people like about this, and they were just like, never trust that girl again. Don't even, she might get back with him. Don't even, like, I'm not looking to become best friends like we were, you know, because, you know, we hurt each other. But I am just looking to just forgive and wish her well. And, if you have anyone in your life who you did have a falling out with, who you like did like, who you hated, or who you hate right now, or who has hurt you, it's definitely time to forgive. And don't wait too long, because nothing is promised. Shalom.